What is going on, everyone? I am glad to be back in the kitchen again, especially for this one because in today's video I'm having a bit of fun with some fruit that I picked up at the farmer's market the other day, and I'm going to be pairing it with some homemade coconut chia pudding for a pretty cool fruit plate that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So let's get started. Alrighty, so the first thing to get working is the coconut chia pudding, since it takes a bit of time to set up. So in a mixing bowl, you're going to add in the chia seeds along with the coconut milk and give it a good whisk until the seeds are evenly incorporated into the milk. Now here I'm using a milk frother because it does a really great job at separating the seeds, but a whisk or a fork will work out just fine. Also at this point, it's a really good time to add any sweetener or flavoring to the pudding if you'd like, but really I'm shooting for that coconut flavor and the texture from this pudding and not really sweetness. So once I'm done with it, I'm just going to wrap it in plastic and let it set up for at least 3 to 4 hours, but if you want it to fully mature, it takes around 12 hours. So just keep that in mind if you're prepping ahead of time. When the chia pudding has finished setting up, it's basically just time to start getting all the fruit for the fruit plate ready to go. And here I'm going to be starting off with the kiwi. Now I always try to work off of flat sides when cutting anything, so just cut a small slice off the top and the bottom of the fruit, then carefully peel the skin of the fruit with the tip of a paring knife or a utility knife. And the trick with kiwis is that they can't be overripe and your knife needs to be super sharp when you're working with them. Otherwise it can be really frustrating and really messy. But after it's peeled, slice the fruit as thin as possible so you can fan it out on the plate for presentation later on. But of course there are many different ways to present this, so it's totally up to you how you want to approach this, but it does give a really good base to this fruit plate. Once the kiwi is sliced, it's time to move on to the blood orange or citrus in general if you have any. The approach to this is basically the same, but when it comes to citrus or really any thicker skinned fruits in general, it's a bit easier to peel them given your knife is pretty sharp, just because they have a built-in line to follow as you slice down the pith. Definitely easier than a kiwi at least. Anyways, when all the skin is removed from the orange, carefully carve out as many segments as you can from the fruit and reserve the rest for juice and snacks later on, since it's still a pretty good nugget of citrus right there. I'm also going to be adding some Cara oranges to the mix since it kind of changes up the color scheme a bit and makes it easier to segment since they're just a really good size citrus fruit. And you're just going to want to repeat this process with as much or as little citrus as you like. And by the way, these little orange segments are like the gold of citrus because they're really pain in the butt to get, but they're just like little gems of citrus fruit that I just love so much, and they're worth every bit of pain that comes with them. Now that all the citrus is ready to go, I'm just going to cut the green tops off of a few small strawberries. These are actually called Gaviota Strawberries that I got at the farmer's market, and they're just really delicious, nice dark ripe strawberries. And I'm just going to slice a few of them in half as well for presentation. And after that, I'm going to sprinkle a small amount of sugar on the blueberries and the strawberries, then give them both a quick toss until they just get a little bit of sheen on them, and it's time to plate. Now, there's multiple ways to plate or present this, of course, but since I've seen a ton of chia pudding bowls and cups lately around trendy cafes and restaurants, I just wanted to enjoy a chia dish that had a really good variety of fresh fruit in clear view alongside the pudding. So here I'm just going to go a little crazy with all of my prepped fruit and the pudding by spreading it all pretty much flat around the plate, but as equally as possible because you want to make sure you can get a really good bite of everything on all sides for the most part. And to garnish, I got some fresh passion fruit that I thought was a pretty cool exotic garnish. Adds a nice pop of color and a little tartness to the plate as well. And finally, I'm going to sprinkle some dark cocoa palm sugar just for a little texture, and it adds a really nice roasted sweetness to it as well. That's really just a great natural way to add a dynamic flavor. Alright, what's up guys? So the fruit plate's done. This looks really good. Lots of fun colors. Really fresh fruit from the farmer's market. Not everything's from the farmer's market, but a good portion of it is. And I'm really excited to dig in. Looks really delicious. This is something that I've been working on for the last week or so with the chia pudding and the presentation. It's nothing that's too crazy amazing, but it's kind of a fun, exotic fruit plate. So I'm gonna dive in, run through the flavors, and tell you guys how I did. All right. It's gonna be pretty clear cut with the flavors, but this chia pudding looks really good. Ooh, I love coconut. I mean, it's not always, it's not always my favorite to mesh everything on one plate. I definitely like to enjoy each individual fruit by themselves for the most part, but when you want to have fun with it and want to experiment, this is definitely a fun way to go. And, if you want to impress some folks, change it up and play with something new, this is definitely cool to do. But, it's not something you're going to do all the time. These strawberries are really special. They're called Gaviota Strawberries. And they're really dark. I mean, if you see them fresh, they almost look like they're overripe. It's just the way the strawberry grows, and it's just a really beautiful, almost like a cherry-like strawberry. Cara orange, or cara, just an amazing orange. It's almost like a grapefruit mixed with an orange. And it has almost like a mango flavor to it. So good. I know sometimes chia pudding can be off-putting. No pun intended. It's just it's a soft texture, very, very pudding-like. It's these little seeds that sort of swell up. It gives a lot of volume to the liquid that you put them in. It's really good. I have definitely become a fan of them. Last but not least, the passion fruit's really good. Adds a nice little acidity to the dish, and of course that exotic burst of passion fruit flavor. The palm coconut sugar is delicious just to finish the topping, and it gives this a little sweetness. Sometimes fruit plates can be really tart. Adding a little pop of natural sweetener is kind of a cool flair to a fruit plate, and it gives it a little kind of crunchy texture to the top. But all in all, this was fun to make. I love slicing and dicing fruit. The chia pudding is fun to make and super, super simple. And this is definitely something you can make on a Sunday brunch or whenever you go to the farmer's market and you have time to pick up some really delicious fruit and kind of have at it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you guys like what I'm doing on my channel. Comment down below for future video requests, things you want to see. And I will see you guys next time with another recipe. Later, folks.